Good afternoon, it's Kirsten here for a Thursday spa business break here on a Facebook Live. So this is the last week of June and the last week of the second quarter, so we're halfway there till the end of the year. Hard to believe, but every year we say this. It happens fast. And this month I've been talking about spa owner stress and how to manage it, how to mitigate it, and really how to put it into perspective for you, because sometimes there has to be stress, and it's unrealistic to expect that everything's just going to go smooth sailing all the time. What you can do, though, in your business is try to have it organized and optimized enough so that you are keeping your stress level at a minimum. So there are in my opinion, there are two different kinds of stress here that's going on in your business. There's planned and unplanned stress. And either way, for most of it, I find that there is a choice when it comes to entrepreneurship. So, it's pretty natural for entrepreneurs to have this kind of up and down peaks and valleys of their entrepreneurship. It's not just, the spa industry, it's all entrepreneurship. There's times where you're, flying high as a kite and super excited and feeling like, yes, this is my vision. I'm heading on this path that I've been dreaming about for so long. Things are coming together, things are going great, but always, always, always there are those times, and it can be the exact next day where you're like, oh my gosh, I don't like this at all. I'm not sure why I'm doing this. So hopefully it's not a back and forth every day for you, because if it is, then we probably should talk because things are not going well. But if you're just finding that you go through these ebbs and flows and you're not really understanding the effects of them, of your choice on how you look at your own stress. So different kinds of stress going on, planned and unplanned. So the planned stress for you will be when you are opening up your first business. So if you're have been an employee and you're going out on your own, this is planned stress. It's going to be fun. Some parts are going to be fun. Some parts are really going to suck. But through all of it, it is stressful. The other place where we have planned stress is with our growth initiatives. So if you are hiring a new team member, if you are bringing in a new product line, if you've got a new piece of equipment that you want to launch, those growth initiatives will, although they're exciting and they will, they're intended to bring in more business for you, which again, that's part's exciting. However, it is going to be stressful. The thing is that when we are planning out a growth initiative that's the key word. We got to plan it out. Where I see a lot of spa owners going wrong with their stress levels in growth initiatives is that they're simply not taking enough time to plan out this idea that they've got. For example, I have lost track of how many spa owners I've actually talked to who have purchased a piece of equipment, kind of a spendy piece of equipment, and haven't even really done their research on what what it does or what the outcomes are for their clients. They've kind of hopped on this bandwagon and, it's a great piece of equipment, but they just bought it impulsively and were thinking, okay, I'm just going to start offering this. That is a really stressful way to launch something because A, you've just invested a fair chunk of money and you want to get that money back. And B, if you've done this impulsively and then launched impulsively, then of course you're just not going to get the same kind of response that you're hoping for. Now, if you had planned out your growth initiative, you would have taken the time to prepare the analysis of what you're bringing in, what other businesses, what other spas are carrying it in my area, doing a little bit of a comparative analysis, then getting into the strategy of the actual launch, then mapping out what the tactics are for that launch, like as far as what are you doing for your overall marketing, broken down to email, your website, your social media. All of that needs time to kind of map out and plan with if you bring in a new skincare line or a new product line or a new team member. And then there's the planning aspect of your leadership. How are you going to handle this growth initiative? How are you going to handle it with your team? How are you communicating? If you are, doing this fast, if you brought on something, you want to launch something and you're trying to do it quickly to just generate some more sales quickly, it can kind of bite you in the butt because you're not really taking the time to analyze, to strategize, to map out your tactics, and to see where your leadership needs to be supporting all of it. Because when you're not doing any of those things together and you launch, it's just kind of throwing spaghetti at the wall and hoping it will stick. And you just, you're really just not setting yourself up for success, or a team member for success if that's the growth initiative is to hire. So that's the smart way to mitigate stress in a growth initiative, is you plan it out. You make sure you have enough time. I would not recommend, doing more than 2 major growth initiatives per year. You simply just need that much time to prepare, map it out, and then launch it. And then have a time for the next growth initiative to do the same process, because you don't want to burn out your followers, you don't want to burn out your email list or your clients by constantly, new this, every single month it's something new. They can't keep up, and you're really just going shallow on your marketing, and you're going shallow on your potential. All right, now the other aspect of managing, stress, good stress with these growth initiatives, is to make sure you are creating a system. So if this is the first time that you are doing a growth initiative, say it's hiring, you're hiring your first team member, start mapping out the process of how you are recruiting and hiring. And as you are going through it, create your own system while you're doing it. It's the easiest way to do. It's essentially capturing the system while it's happening, rather than doing your recruiting and hiring and then going back and trying to document all your steps. It's much easier when you're in the process. The next piece as far as having this system is that once you've documented it, then you have a system that you can repeat, and you don't have to feel like you're reinventing the wheel next time you have to hire. It gets easier and easier. Your system gets better and better, more refined each time you do it, because you're constantly tweaking it to basically optimize your business processes. Okay, so the topic today was about spa owner stress, and sometimes it's a choice. So the first choice is if you're doing a growth initiative. For me, last year, I started up a social media agency, kind of running quietly behind the scenes of my coaching business. And when I got started at the beginning of August last year, that growth initiative, from the time that I hired, kind of had my idea and started recruiting a team, till the time I actually had a solid system, solid standard operating procedure for my team members, a solid system for myself, for my leadership with my team, leadership with our clients. So August 1st is when I started that. I didn't really nail it down until close to November. And there was definitely parts in there, like in September, October, where I was like, I'm totally stressed out. I've got my coaching business. I've got this new startup with social media agency. We're creating all our own processes here. And I realized that when I was feeling super stressed, it was because it was like that was the red flag. I need a better system for that particular process. So when you're feeling stressed in your business, it means you need a system for it. And once you create a system, then you have it very clear in your own head. You can communicate it clearly to your team about how you want things to be done. You can collaborate on how things should be done, because sometimes your team members, because they're working in it more than you are, especially if you're out of the treatment room, sometimes they have a better perspective on a few things than you might. Okay, so plan stress with growth initiatives. You can mitigate that stress by creating systems for yourself and then tweaking those systems every time you go through a growth initiative. Now, the second kind of stress is the unplanned stress, and nobody likes unplanned stress, but it's just part of being an entrepreneur. It's part of being human. But the thing is that if you are constantly feeling like you have unplanned stress, like you are constantly putting out fires at work between staff members or clients or vendors, if you feel like you can, never really get your social media cohesive, if you can't seem to get out regular emails and you're just spinning your wheels, that, my friend, is actually chosen stress, because you are choosing just to kind of fly by the seat of your pants. And some of you might actually be very, let's see, how would I put this? Some of you might actually really identify with, I don't like having a system. I don't like, I like kind of being able to pivot. And yes, you still can pivot. You can still make adjustments in your business. But here's the thing. If you don't have a system for your marketing, if you don't have a system for your recruiting and hiring, if you don't have a system for client complaints, if you don't have a system for any, processes in your business, you are simply choosing to be more stressed than you need to be. And sometimes this is also kind of where some of our personal work needs to have a little bit of attention. Am I actually choosing to be stressful by choosing not to get organized with my business? Am I choosing to be stressed because I'm just saying I don't have time to kind of work on my business? It's choosing to be stressed. It's just the bottom line. And for me, I'm one of those people that I hate stress. I hate it so much that it propels me into figuring out how to problem solve it. And usually in our businesses, it has to do with being organized. And being organized in business just means that you're needing some systems. All right. So have you heard me? I've flogged the dead horse enough. If you're stressed, it means you need systems to mitigate that. Now I have a blog that I wrote. It was a couple of years ago called The Transition Curve. And I will pop that into the post here after I'm done. And it's one of those things where even when you have systems, you're still going to be stressed. There's going to be times where that just comes up. The thing is that when we organize our business and systematize it, it just goes a lot smoother. So that when we hit those places like the transition curve in our business, and what I mean by the transition curve, this came from the book Double Double. Oh, what's his name? Can't remember. It's blanking on me right now. Anyways, there's this path that entrepreneurs take. We know it, we've been on it, but essentially it starts with, you start up, kind of going up the hill. This is probably where you started your business and you have uninformed optimism. You don't know what you don't know. So you're like, yeah, this is awesome. However, you hit the top of the mountain and you realize you have, oh my gosh, this is a lot harder than I thought. This isn't just for startups either. Maybe you've just hired a team member and you're so happy. Yay, I'm gonna hire a new team member as the next step in my business. And then you get to the top of the kind of the hill, and you're like, where you are actually in the recruiting process and you are interviewing and you've got a few people doing practical interviews, and you're like, oh my word, this is a lot harder than I thought, blah, blah, blah. I don't know if I'm gonna find the right person. Then all of a sudden you hit the top of informed pessimism. Like, enough to be like concerned and not very happy. After you hit the top of that, then you start coming down. Now there's a point where you can make a choice. When you're coming down, you start hitting this, start bottoming out at crisis of meaning. Oh my gosh, have I made the right decision to get in to be an entrepreneur? Did I make this right decision to hire? Oh my gosh, did I make a mistake bringing in this product line? It's not moving. So you hit this crisis of meaning, and for some of you, that crisis of meaning is like really bad. Like, I want out, I don't want to do this anymore. But there's an opportunity at this point as well to either find some solutions and continue an uptick from that bottoming out at that crisis of meaning. So start finding some solutions, some systems to make your life and work easier, or you can choose to just continue what you're doing and bottom out and crash and burn. That's no fun. That makes us just feel like crap because you lose face, you feel like a failure, all of those horrible things we don't want to entertain. Some of you are entertaining them and it's enough for you to make you want to just get out. But what I'm hoping today's topic will do for you is give you a different perspective about stress. There's a choice to be stressed. Sometimes there is no choice. Sometimes life just throws craziness at you and we just got to deal. But I'm talking about in your business where there are places that you can choose to be stressed for a good reason, for growth, but to manage that stress with systems and processes and support from team members, from support from your admin team as well. Or that place where you can choose as far as, just the daily grind and choosing to be kind of, I'm stressed out. This is totally stressful, but not make the choice to make any changes about it. All right. So I'm curious if this pushed any buttons for you. I hope it did. Because maybe you needed to hear this today and needed a little bit of a kick in the pants for, the daily grind is really stressful for me all the time. I'm not loving what I'm doing. What do I need to change? How can I make this different? How can I take some forward momentum? If you are totally stuck and cannot think of anything because you've gotten yourself into this little pickle, then for sure reach out to me and we can talk about maybe having a conversation about just kind of kicking you out of kind of where you're at and getting you a little bit more energy, a little bit more mental bandwidth to start organizing your business a little better. So you have a business that you enjoy being in and it's not running you ragged. You're running your business instead of it running you. All right, if you have any comments or questions, pop them down below in the chat there and I will be happy to answer them. Curious what you think about this.